In the heart of a vast, endless desert, where the golden sands stretched far beyond the horizon, there was a legend that had been passed down through generations. It spoke of an ancient city, long lost beneath the shifting sands, filled with treasures and secrets of the past. The city was said to be home to a powerful civilization that vanished mysteriously, leaving behind only whispers of its existence. One day, a young girl named Arya, known for her adventurous spirit, heard the tale from an old storyteller in a small desert village. The storyteller spoke of a map that led to the hidden city, a map that had been lost for centuries. Arya, whose heart longed for adventure, decided that she would find the city and uncover its secrets. With nothing but a small satchel of supplies and the tales of the desert wind, Arya set off into the vast desert. The sun beat down relentlessly and the winds howled through the dunes, but she pressed on. Her mind was filled with the thought of the hidden city, wondering what wonders it might hold and why it had been lost for so long. After days of wandering, Arya came across a small oasis where she found an old man who had lived in the desert his entire life. His name was Khalil, and he had heard of the hidden city from his ancestors. He told Arya that the map she sought was not a simple piece of paper, but a mystical object that had been enchanted to reveal itself only to those who were truly worthy. The city, he said, was guarded by an ancient magic, and no one who had sought it before had ever returned. "Why do you want to find it?" Khalil asked, his voice carrying a note of caution. Arya smiled brightly. "I want to see the treasures, the secrets, and maybe even uncover the reason the city vanished." Khalil shook his head, his face serious. "Be careful, young one. The desert does not give up its secrets easily, and not all treasures are meant to be found." Despite his warning, Arya was determined. Khalil handed her a small weathered stone, saying it would help her on her journey. "This will guide you to the place where the map will appear. But remember, the path will not be easy." Arya thanked him and continued her journey, the stone tucked safely in her pocket. As she walked deeper into the desert, the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the sand. Just as she was about to give up and camp for the night, something strange happened. The sand beneath her feet began to glow faintly, and the wind seemed to whisper her name. Suddenly, the ground shifted, and a large stone slab appeared from the sands, revealing a narrow entrance leading deep underground. Arya's heart raced with excitement. She had found it, the entrance to the hidden city. But the journey was far from over. The entrance was guarded by an ancient puzzle, one that would test her wit and courage. Arya stepped forward, determined to uncover the secrets hidden beneath the sands. Arya stood before the entrance to the hidden city, her heart pounding with excitement. The stone slab had risen from the sands, revealing a dark passage leading down into the earth. The glow from the stone Khalil had given her illuminated the path, casting eerie shadows on the walls. But just as she took a step forward, a deep rumble echoed from the walls. A voice, ancient and mysterious, filled the air around her. "To enter, you must solve the riddle of the forgotten gate. Fail, and the city will remain lost forever." Arya paused, taking in the warning. She had heard that the city's protectors had created a puzzle to guard it, but she never imagined she would face such a challenge. The voice seemed to come from everywhere, and the walls of the passage were covered with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer and shift in the dim light. Arya's mind raced. What was the riddle? How could she solve it? The voice spoke again, this time more clearly, echoing in the narrow passage. "I am always hungry. I must always be fed. The finger I touch will soon turn red. What am I?" Arya stood still, thinking hard. The riddle made her nervous, but she knew she had to focus. She recalled the old stories she had heard as a child, tales of clever heroes solving ancient puzzles. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to clear her mind. The symbols on the wall flickered in her mind's eye, but one stood out to her, a small flame flickering within the designs. A sudden realization struck her. "It's fire!" she exclaimed aloud. "The answer is fire!" At her words, the ground beneath her feet trembled again, and the stone door groaned as if acknowledging her answer. Slowly, the stone slab began to rise, revealing the path into the depths of the hidden city. Arya stepped forward, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. She had passed the first test. The city was now open to her, but she knew this was only the beginning. As she ventured deeper into the passage, the air grew cooler, and the glow from the stone intensified. The walls were lined with ancient carvings, depicting scenes of a long-lost civilization, people dancing in the light of a great crystal, towering structures made of gold, and strange creatures that Arya couldn't quite recognize. It was as if the city itself had been frozen in time, waiting for someone to uncover its mysteries. The passage eventually opened up into a large circular chamber. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, atop which rested a glowing crystal. The crystal pulsed with a soft blue light, illuminating the room in a magical glow. But as Arya stepped closer, the voice of the gate echoed once more, this time with a warning. "The city's secrets come at a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Arya hesitated, unsure of what the voice meant. But her curiosity and determination outweighed her fear. She stepped forward and touched the crystal. At that moment, the ground beneath her feet cracked open, and a powerful wind swirled around her, lifting her into the air. The crystal's glow brightened, and Arya felt as though she were being pulled into another world, a world where the secrets of the hidden city were waiting to be revealed. Arya felt herself being lifted higher, the wind surrounding her like a whirlwind. Her heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement as the crystal's light grew brighter and brighter, blinding her for a moment. Suddenly, everything went silent. The wind stopped, and the light faded. When Arya opened her eyes, she found herself standing in a vast, glowing city. It was the hidden city, once thought to be lost to time, now before her, shining with an otherworldly light. The streets were lined with tall, majestic buildings made of shimmering stone and crystal, their surfaces glimmering in the soft glow of the eternal twilight that bathed the city. The air was cool and filled with the scent of ancient flowers, and the sound of distant music echoed softly through the streets. But there was something strange about the city. It was empty. No people walked the streets, no voices called out from the homes, and no creatures roamed the once bustling marketplaces. As Arya wandered deeper into the city, she felt an overwhelming sense of wonder. She passed by tall statues of unknown beings, their eyes seeming to follow her as she moved. The city seemed frozen in time, but it was alive with the energy of the past. Every corner she turned revealed new secrets, from enchanted gardens to magical fountains that shimmered with every color of the rainbow. At the heart of the city stood an enormous palace, its towers reaching high into the sky. Arya could feel that this was where the true power of the city lay. She made her way to the palace, the air growing heavier with each step. As she entered the grand hall, the walls were adorned with murals depicting the rise and fall of a great civilization. The people of this city had once wielded unimaginable power, their knowledge of magic and the natural world far beyond anything Arya had ever imagined. But it seemed that something had gone terribly wrong. In the center of the hall stood a large, glowing altar. Above it floated a magnificent ancient book, the Book of Eternity. The voice of the Forgotten Gate echoed in Arya's mind once again. "You have found the heart of the city, but the city's power comes with a great responsibility. Will you claim it?" Arya hesitated. She had dreamed of discovering the city's secrets, but now that she was standing in its heart, she realized the weight of the decision before her. To claim the power of the city meant taking on a responsibility she wasn't sure she was ready for. But deep down, she knew she could not turn back now. With trembling hands, she reached for the book of eternity. As her fingers touched the pages, a wave of energy surged through her, filling her with the knowledge of the ancients. The city, once frozen in time, began to awaken around her. The statues came to life, the fountains flowed with magical water, and the music grew louder, more joyful. The city had not been lost, it had been waiting for someone worthy to unlock its power. Arya had proven herself to be that person. With the knowledge now in her mind, Arya understood that the city's magic was not meant to be used for personal gain. Instead, it was meant to be shared with the world, to restore balance and harmony to the lands that had forgotten the power of the ancients. Arya stepped back from the altar, the book of eternity still glowing in her hands. She knew her journey was far from over. The city's secrets were now hers to protect, and it was up to her to decide how to use them wisely. As she made her way back to the entrance of the city, she could feel the sands shifting beneath her feet, ready to cover the city once more. But this time, Arya would not be the same girl who had set out to find the city.